like so. Okay, so this is MGF 1106, right?
Yes.
Now, there's been a little confusion. That's okay, Frank. About this meeting. So what's going on? I have people here in class that I'm giving a lecture to. I also have a class online that is a synchronous class. I believe there's 6 people in it. They are required, more or less, to attend these lectures online. Now, what appears to have happened is that there's been a slight misunderstanding with the people in the other classes that are strictly online. So if you are in one of the 3 online only courses, you don't have to be here to these meetings. You're more than welcome to join. That's why I put the link in your course. Essentially, I added this link. I was going to have to do it anyways for the 6 people that are online that have to attend. So I figured if you wish, you can come to these meetings as well. What it does is give you an opportunity to interact with me live. So essentially, you don't have to be here, but you're welcome to if you want. Okay, so all we're going to do today is go over the syllabus. And they are slightly different depending on which course you are in. So who I'm speaking to mainly today will be those students that are here in person. Thank you, Olga. So it may be a little bit different for those of you that are online. The first thing that I can say that's different is for those of you in class, you probably do not see this attendance confirmation, and that's because your attendance will be confirmed by you being here. Those of you online, it should be showing up as just a simple thing where you confirm that you have read and understood the syllabus. This here is the link to this class. If, again, those of you in person, if something happens, you can't make it here, the link is still there. You're more than welcome to join that way. At some point, email me and let me know that's how you join so I can mark your attendance as being here. Same with those of you in the synchronous class. Those of you in the online class, you don't need to let me know you are here. It's strictly optional for you. So you don't have to come. If you come, I don't need to know. I mean, it can be helpful to listen to a live lecture of the material. So I'm not going to say don't come. You're more than welcome to. There's no restriction on the number of people that can watch online, so we'll be okay. At least none that I know of. So all 3 different types of classes have essentially the same setup. We start out with a brief introduction. Then we have the syllabus. Then we have the link to the online meeting if you can't make it live for those of you here. And of course, if you are an online student, either synchronous or asynchronous, there's the attendance confirmation. Quite a few of you already done that, so we're good. The next thing I have up here is, since I teach this as a strictly online class as well, I have recordings of lectures of every chapter. That's what this is. This is the links to all those lectures. Let's see how it comes up. Gives you the chapter name and the links. For YouTube videos, I use YouTube mainly because YouTube does the closed captioning for me. So these videos are closed caption enabled as well, if you need that. And then we have it separated by chapter. Each chapter has the same thing in it, as far as the same parts. First is there what's called a pre-lecture note. It's essentially the notes that I will put up on the screen, and we'll go over, work through the examples that are in those notes. Some students like to print them out. Some students bring them up on their tablet so they can write on them to take notes. I'll go ahead and bring one up so you can see what it looks like. It has the basic information that we'll talk about, then it has an example. And what I will do is I will work these examples on this. And you can do the same if you wish. You can work it on your own paper if you wish. They're numbered so you can refer back. The next thing in each chapter is the recorded lecture. It's another link to those same recorded lectures. And then there's the notes from that lecture. And lastly is the homework assignment. Each chapter has a homework assignment. You can do it, you can print it out if you want, you can do it on your tablet, however you wish to do it. Let's see. So homework looks something like this. Like I said, you could work it on your tablet if you have one. I've had students do the work in Word by typing everything up. A little more work than is necessary, but I don't have a problem with that either. And once you finish it, you can upload it. And then I will look at it and see how you did. So, first thing to note the due date on the homework is October 1st. That's the same for the problem solving, the statistics, describing data, and probability. 4 chapters. That is the first test. We meet on Tuesday and Thursday. So we'll go over study guides on Tuesday and we'll take the test on Thursday. Those of you online, you can take them anytime you wish, as long as it's by the due date. This October 1st date is the Sunday after the exam. Or in the case of online students, it's the same time the exam is due. So our first test will be on 4 chapters. The statistics chapter is not a whole lot. Describing data and probability are pretty much interlinked, and you have to have problem solving before you can do the problems in the other chapters. So that's why they're linked together. Then after the probability chapter, we have what's called a project. Note, it's not due till December 3rd. The reason it's put here is it is based on probability, what we learn in the probability chapter, or at least some of what we learn in the probability chapter. So that's why it's there. There is a recording of how to do it, and I will most likely go over how to do it in class as well. That's mainly so the online students, they don't have to worry about it. Then we have our first exam. This is the study guide. Come on. So this is what the study guide looks like. Maybe. Now here's the thing, talking about homework. It's not due till the Sunday after the exam. However, once we get to the Tuesday where I go over the study guide, I won't give you feedback on homework. Your homework is graded on completion, not whether or not it's correct. Now, if you get it in before that Tuesday, I'll give you some feedback. If you miss something, I'll try to explain what happened. After that point, I won't be giving feedback, and the reason is the study guide is the homework. So yes, I do realize that technically you could wait till we go over the study guide and then do all your homework then, which is fine. You get 100 on homework, probably won't do too well on the test. Then let's see, what else do we have here? Then we have the solutions. I've already have the solutions for you. And then of course, if you're online, your exam is online. There it is. Those of you in class, you can't see that. It won't show up. After the first test, we just go to the next chapter. There's 2 chapters, then there's a test. And then there's 2 chapters and there's a test. So there's a total of 8 tests. Or 8 chapters, 3 tests, final exam. So now what I want to do is, well, first, any questions on how to navigate through this? Everybody okay? We'll get to that in a moment too. So again, this is our syllabus for the in-class section. It shouldn't be overly different than those of you online. This is MGF 1106, Mathematics for Liberal Arts 1. I am Mr. Wojciechowski. Did I say that earlier? No? Shame on me. Here's the biggie right here. I don't know if I can get it. Evidently not. Technology is not my friend this week. My email address. That is my college email. That is the best way to contact me. That is definitely the quickest way to get a response. We're all in the right room, room 404. It's kind of hidden away here, but we found it. After this class, I have another class at 6 o'clock in the same room. So essentially my office hours are after this class in this room. So if you need to talk to me, just stay after class and we'll talk. Or if you have any questions you need to ask. Okay, what are we covering in here? We are covering, well, first of all, did you realize this course was designed for elementary education? Do we have any elementary education majors? One? Yeah, some online now. So it is a Gordon Rule course, which means that you'll have your attendance taken every day. So what are we working on here? Problem solving, growth models, finance, statistics, describing data, systematic counting, probability sets, and history of counting. At the end of the course, you should be able to apply methods to solve problems, describe, differentiate, and demonstrate linear and exponential growth, describe, distinguish, and demonstrate financial mathematics. We don't go as deep into that as I'd like, but we do get into compound interest and simple interest, calculate mortgages, car payments, that type of stuff. Annuities and retirement accounts, that type of thing. Demonstrate counting techniques. We will look into other bases, particularly base 2 and base 16, but we do work in a few others as well. We'll calculate basic statistical measures and analyze distribution graphs. We'll apply methods for computing probabilities, identify sets and their properties, and construct Venn diagrams, and demonstrate an understanding of the history of counting systems. I'm kind of surprised. The 2 we look at are Peruvian and Mayan, mainly Mayan. I was kind of surprised they didn't have Roman numerals in here, but not involved. So it looks like this is a repeat. Yes, yes. This class covers your critical thinking requirement. You'll learn to use all these skills in the homework test and classwork. And you'll demonstrate mastery of the skills through a comprehensive final exam. And yes, I know that's a dirty word. So the good news, you don't have to buy a book. The book is open source, it's free, you can download it if you wish. And the link is right here. You do, however, need one of these. This is a TI 30XX. What you need is a scientific calculator. You don't have to have that specific one, but you need a scientific calculator. You need a calculator that has logarithms on it. There should be a LOG button and an LN button on it. It should also have exponents on it. Some of the ways that button is shown, if this will work. You might have a button that has that symbol on it. You might have a button like this that says X to the Y. Or you could have a button like that that has X to some power. You're going to need one of those three to be on it as well, because we will be using exponents quite a bit. So a simple calculator that has basic functions on it will not do. Homework is in Canvas. We said that already. Calculator, we said that already as well. You will be able to use the calculator on exams. I highly recommend practicing with it on your homework. So our course, our grades are evaluated in this way. The project is worth 15% of your grade. And if you know what you're doing, it shouldn't take you more than about 15 minutes to actually do it. Your homework altogether is worth 15% of your grade. The 3 tests are worth a total of 45% of your grade. And your final exam is worth 25% of your grade. And it is comprehensive. Now, the way I work this, exams are based on the homework. So if you can do the homework and you're comfortable with the homework, you should do fine on the exam. The final exam is based on the exams. Before the final, typically time permitting, and it usually is, we'll go over all of the exams. So you'll have corrected answers for every exam before the final. I believe this is standard grading for the college. There are pluses and minuses. There isn't an A plus, but and then comes absolutely no makeup test will be given. If a student misses a test, then the instructor will assign a 0 for the missed test score. With approved documented justification from the student, the instructor will record the student's final exam grade in place of the missed test score. Otherwise, the 0 score will remain. This arrangement is only available once per student per class. Everyone must take the final exam. And it says here there's no opportunities for extra credit work for grade enhancement purposes. Now, that statement is to cover my behind. I do occasionally give extra credit work, not very often. And I do allow makeup tests. The issue I have with makeup tests is first, I'm only here 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday. Rest of the week, I'm in Niceville teaching. I basically get here and the only time I'm actually free is my office hours, which is after this class and before the 6 o'clock class. So that is a possibility for making up an exam. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot of opportunity for me to be available to get with you to make something up. Now, one option would be the testing center. I don't know if they're accepting people for makeup exams or not, but it can be, you can try it. Then my other problem with this statement. So I miss a test, so I can replace my lowest grade with my final exam score. Is that fair to the people that took the test? So what I actually do is, if your final exam score is better than your lowest test score, I replace the lowest test score with your final exam score. In other words, if on test 1, you're not familiar with my testing methods, you kind of was still trying to get used to going back to school, and you didn't do something, maybe you made a 70. Now, if you come through and you buckle down and you get your grades up and you go back and look over that material and you make a 90 on the final, I'll replace that 70 with the 90. So I don't drop your lowest test score, but if your final is better than your lowest test score, I replace it with the final score. I've taken some classes where the final score was it. Whatever you made on the final, that was your grade. So everybody's been in school for what, 13 years at least? Right? First day of every class, they tell you, you'll behave like this and this, no doing this. Well, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to assume you know that. So essentially what I say is treat your classmates, treat me with the respect that you would like to be treated with. Now, I'm not real big on the raising your hand to answer a question. So if I ask a question to the class, just answer. If you have a question, just say, excuse me, professor, what do you mean by that? You don't have to raise your hand and be recognized. Now, use a little judgment. And it's a little better in this class because I'm actually looking at you as I'm working. Some of my other classes I have to write on a board, so it's a little more difficult. But I'm not real strict. Raise your hand, wait to be recognized to speak. I don't have an issue with you just speaking, answering a question, and so forth. The big thing on here, do I see any? Don't worry, I won't point you out. Well, there's a few. This is a cell phone. A rather cheap one, to be honest with you. We're all grown-ups. We're all adults. We all have responsibilities other than being in this class. I mean, I want you to take being here seriously. I want you to be here as much as possible, but might have parents in here with smaller children. Might have students in here that have siblings, younger siblings. If something happens where you can't make it here, or if you receive a call and you need to take it, if it, maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your parent, and you need to take the call, all I say is pick up your phone, quietly go outside, take the call, quietly come back in. If it's a call that requires you to leave, quietly pack your things, go. You may want to try to catch my attention. And at some point, maybe email me and say, this is why I had to leave. I don't need details. Just, my mother needed me to take care of my brother. My child was sick and got sent home from daycare. Or I don't need detail. I don't need to know. Well, I'm not even going to go there. I'm pretty lenient as far as that goes. Maybe a little too lenient. Now, if you call me and say, I'm staying at the beach today, or email me and say, nah, I just want to go to the beach, I doubt I'm going to excuse that one. But I'm going to Basically, I trust every one of you fully. Until you give me reason to believe otherwise, I'll believe anything that you say. Unless, of course, it's something silly that I know is not true. So if you say I was sick, I'm going to believe you. Now, if 6, 7, 8 days in a row, you say I can't make class, I'm sick, I'm probably going to end up in that case asking for, hey, you got a doctor's note. But for the most part, I'm pretty lenient as far as that goes. The attendance thing is not my choice, it's what I have to do. I remember a time where if you didn't show, they didn't care. Once they had your money, it didn't matter. But the times have changed, so. And this being Gordon rule, that's part of why I have to do attendance. That covers that. Question? If you have a reasonable explanation as to why you missed, it'll be excused. That's what I forgot in the other class. So here's the thing about attendance too. So in one part of this, it says no extra credit. And then here it says, if you come to class, every class meeting, you have 0 absences. Or 1 or 2. You will receive, for 0 absences, you will receive 3, for 1 absence, 2, for 2 absence, 1. Percentage points to be added to your final grade. So if you're here every day and you made that B plus at an 89, it'll jack it up to a 92, which is an A minus. Now the exception, of course, is you had to start out with a C minus. So if you have a D, you're not getting the points. But it's very rare that anybody that shows up gets a D in here. So coming to class means you won't miss material. And it also can mean 3 extra points on your final grade. Those of you online, your attendance is taken in a different manner. It should be in your syllabus. I have not received anything yet on whether or not there's tutoring for this course. They have issues finding tutors, mainly because the type of things we do in here can get a little confusing to the math majors. They're used to their math being about thinking. I've taken math courses where there were no numbers involved. So it's been a long time since they've done the type of thing we do. So they have issues with finding tutors. They usually email me when they have one. I haven't heard anything yet. So at this time, it doesn't hurt to check. But at this time, I don't think there is anybody. Okay. Financial aid. If you have financial aid, your attendance must be confirmed within the first week, of course, of the class. Well, you're here today, so by the end of the day, your attendance will be confirmed. Do you know how to check to see if it's confirmed? If you go into Classmate, it should list all your courses. In the bottom left-hand corner, there's a green check and the word confirmed. That'll tell you if your attendance has been confirmed for that course. I should have that done by the end of the day today. At worst, it'll be when I get home tonight, about 10 o'clock. But it should be done. So check it before next class to make sure. If it's not, you notice it's not starting tomorrow. Give me at least tonight. You can email me and let me know I was at class and it's saying I'm not confirmed. My attendance is not confirmed. What this does is if it's not confirmed and you have financial aid, your aid will be delayed. Those of you online, I'll be working on attendance confirmations probably tonight as well. And we have a withdrawal policy, which is standard. Technology, you need to be able to use a computer to access Canvas. and you need to have your calculator. Conduct and plagiarism policy is standard for every course. Students with disabilities, contact the student accessibility resources to accommodate if you have accommodation needs. If you have accommodation needs, the most common ones I see are extended testing time or reduced distraction testing. Now, those of you online, the test links are set up so that if you have those needs, you're good. You're taking the test at home, so I'm assuming there'll be less distractions. And I've set the time limits to more than the hour and 15 minutes the in-class students get. If you're in class and you have accommodation needs, you go through the Student Accessibility Resource Center, then you let me know so that I can you set up an appointment and then let me know that you have the appointment, then I can send them the exam and you would actually take it there. I don't know how late they stay open, so you might have to take it earlier than class, but they'll email me and ask if I approve it, and I always do. If that is your situation, you would take the exam but not come to class on exam day. Weather emergency information. It's fall, isn't it? The peak hurricane season is upon us. So, in my experience, I've been teaching here 7 years. I was a student here for about 4 or 5 years before that. This college tends to be proactive. Their, for lack of a better word, motto is better safe than sorry. So if the college decides that a storm is a threat, you will get an email from the college saying that it's closing or it will be closing, and we won't have class. Typically, I usually email you as well to let you know. Other possible things, I might have an emergency and not be able to come out here, in which case I will email you at the earliest opportunity to let you know that we won't be having class. So my recommendation, and I can say this from experience, is if you travel from a halfway decent distance, and if you live on campus, it's not that big of a deal. But if you travel like me, I travel from Fort Walton, I would definitely check email before leaving for class. If I have an emergency come up, like I say, as soon as I know I'm not going to be able to make it, I will email you to let you know. I unfortunately made the mistake of not doing that many years ago. And in this particular case, something had happened and the power was out in this building. So all classes in this building were canceled. Well, I didn't check my email before I left. So I drove the hour and a half, 2 hours to get here, only to find out that I didn't have class. So something that came up, can't remember if it was the fall or spring of last year. The weather was really, really bad. Wasn't a storm, it was just, well, it was a storm, but not a tropical storm. There were high winds, the heavy rain, and I just didn't feel it was safe for me to drive, so I canceled class. And as I said, you'll get an email telling you. Now, it may not be raining real hard here, but it's raining real hard where I am. I usually look at the radar, see what's going to happen, and go from there. But that was the first time I ever closed it for anything other than a tropical storm or a medical emergency. So check your email. Student email, that's the way to go. Here is a tentative schedule. as you can see from here, the week is September 25th. I believe that's a Monday date. Or is that a Sunday date? No, that's a Monday date. That is the week that we will have our first exam on 4 chapters. Now, like I said, the problem solving, we need that because without it, we can't solve any problem. So it's not all that rough. Statistics, there's very little. The statistics chapter isn't really statistics. It's more about definitions. And no, I don't ask you to recite definitions. So there'll be very little from that you'll be tested on. Again, homework is the way to go. If it's on the homework, it's probably going to be on the test. It's the describing data and the probability chapters that are probably the majority of the exam. But on the Tuesday before, which would be what, the 26th, I guess, we will go over all the homework. So you'll have all the answers for all the homework, how to work them. My recommendation would be between that Tuesday and the Thursday of the exam, maybe try to go through that without looking. Because if you can do that, you'll be good on a test. The test will be on Thursday. All our tests, except perhaps the final exam, are set on Thursdays. And I think the only Tuesday, Thursday holiday is Thanksgiving. As you can see, we have a whole week for final exam review. Doesn't necessarily take that long. Kind of a cushion in case we have issues with weather that cause us to miss classes. And as I said, this is tentative, so it can change. We have a face covering statement. I don't even know if we need that anymore, but they didn't say take it out, so I left it in. Essentially, if you feel the need to wear a mask, feel free to do so. All I ask is that if you're wearing a mask, don't get upset at people that aren't. And if you aren't wearing a mask, don't make fun of people that are. And if you believe some of the rumors, we may be wearing masks again. Okay. This statement here is basically saying maybe it's disrupted by weather or pandemics and events outside of our control. I think the main gist of this really is if the pandemic were to hit, or if a pandemic were to hit, there is a possibility that these in-person courses would be switched to online. Now, in that case, it would be online with Zoom meetings instead of in-person meetings. If you signed up to be here in person, I'm not just going to let you figure it out on your own. I will give live lectures at the time that we would normally have had class meetings. Hopefully we won't have that problem. As far as recording in class, I'm recording, and hopefully those of you here will remind me each time to record. But if you feel a need to record the class, you need something to put you to sleep at night, I'm okay with that. Then we have general stuff on discrimination, sexual discrimination and harassment, standard policies. So are there any questions? Did I do that well, or did you just want to get the hell out of here? You can be honest. Okay, so let's see. That's all about that.